Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Comuni. Let's check it out. Setup for the game is very simple. First off, you're going to put these victory tokens here on the pre-printed areas on the board, shuffle decks A through D and put them in their respected areas. This little marker card counts how many cards are left in the decks of B, C, and D. You really don't need it. It is completely worthless. And this is to signify when an invasion happens, you place it to the person who's going next. That way you won't forget whose turn it is, because the gameplay will stop when an invasion happens. You'll also have each player's flag in the game over to the side there. Each player is going to get one of each of these icon cards. These are income cards they can have. They'll each start with one of each. They'll start with 3 of their little pawns here, and depending on what number player they are, they're going to take that player shield. So you would only take this one if you have 5 players, but that's first, second, third, fourth player. After that, in that order, however, that will determine how many starting cubes they'll get of each one. And the book lets you know which commune will get how many cubes. There are 4 different cube colors here in the game. Yellow is gold, brown is pilgrims, white is craftsmen, and black is armies. So how the game goes, you're going to do, these actions are really fast. One of these actions, I should mention, you also have plunder cards here. You'll also have these little guild masters, I believe, that are right here. Maybe you can put them on the board, I don't know. Maybe that's where they go, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe so. But either way though, you have the guild master here, plunder tokens over the side, you're ready to play. What's one of the actions? Well, first off, you're going to take from the A deck and put out cards in these little pre-printed areas on the board. Now, depending on the number of players determines, of course, if you're going to utilize any of these rows or not. But on a player's turn, they can take one of their pawns, place it in that area, and then on their next turn, if no one has outbid them, they may, for one action, take any cards associated in that row. So they can take both of these, all 3 of these, or this one in a cube of their choice, whatever they wanted. However, if someone else was going to come around that round, they would bid and they could outbid them with gold. And this person would go back, and maybe they come back with 2 gold and outbid that one. So you could have a bidding war here, but eventually, when it comes back to you and you still have someone there, you'll spend any gold there and take the cards and rewards there. Another thing you can do on your action is you can take the cards that you've won and you can start a building. Now, a building usually starts with a level 1, but you don't have to play a level 1 card. You could play a level 2 card for level 1. Now, the next time you'd have to play a level 2 card, and it has to match the emblem here. So I couldn't play this level 2 because the emblem don't match there. This is a religious building, but I could play this level 2. But let's say I didn't have that. Let's say I played this first and then won this later in the round. Well, how can I make a level 2 home? I pay this, but if I pay this, I also have to pay a white cube, and that craftsman makes that a 2. If I put 2 craftsmen there, it would have made it a 3. So if I was trying to build a level 3 home, and I did not have this card, maybe I had another 2, I could put one down, pay the craftsman, and that would be my level 3 home. Now, very important, whenever you create a level 2 home or higher of any of these 4 symbols here, you're going to get the guild master of that icon, matching icon. And he's going to help you gain extra cubes, as you see here, when you collect base income, which I'll talk about later. Now, these can be taken from you during the game at any time someone builds a higher building than you. For instance, if I had a level 3 building for the scribes or whatever, and someone else came by and they built a level 4, they would immediately take this card from me. And then later on, I'd have to build a level 5 to get it back. Now, I should also mention, anytime that you build a building, you're going to get the victory points equal to that level. So if I build a level 1, it counts as 1 point. If I build a level 2, like that, it counts as 2 points. If somehow I built a level 3 with these cards, of course this one being a craftsman there, I would get 3 victory points, and you would move yourself up that victory point track. The other option you have is building walls. All it takes is a level 1 card to build your first wall. You don't get victory points for it, but it'll help during invasions. And if you want to build a level 2 wall, it can be any card in your hand. If it's a level 2, that's great. If it's not, let's say this was a level, I'm trying to build a level 2 wall with this card. It doesn't match, these don't care if they match because these are walls here, but I would have to pay 1 extra craftsman in order to form a level 2 wall. Now, very important, once you've formed a level 4 wall, the game grants you a free level 1 wall so you can start working on another wall. Working on walls, again, don't give you victory points, but it's a defensive mode that you can take during to prepare for an invasion. I should also mention at any time you can cash in 2 pilgrims for any 1 other resource. You can also at any time cash in 2 gold for 1 army cube if you so choose to. The other thing you can do in the game is collect income, and it's using some of these choices or getting the collect income that is on your player screen. For instance, each player will get a cube of a certain color and then any cube of any color they want when collecting base income. Additionally to that, if they have one of these guild masters, they'll also score this, any one of those type cubes, sometimes all four if they have all four at that moment, on their just base income there. But if they wanted to cash in more, they could lay these on top of buildings and also get additional brown, yellow, white, or black cubes depending on which one they played. So for example, if I was to play it, let's say I had a level 4 building here. I could play it on here and play this card on top of there and instantly get 4 pilgrims from the deck. Four brown cubes, excuse me, from the supply. Once I do that, I may not cash in for pilgrims again until I build an extra level onto this house. And until that time happens, then, or I build another building, then I could remove this card, place it back in my hand, and cash in on it again at a later time. And again, you can cash in on any and all of these, but you have to keep building additional buildings in order to grab the card back and put it in your hand. But if you didn't want to score on any of these, you could always collect your base income with any guild masters as well. So those are the actions you'll be doing in the game. You'll be bidding on cards here, collecting those cards on an action, building cities, collecting income, or even building walls. After you've done all that, whenever any one of these 4 decks run out, so let's say the A deck runs out, the game stops. This goes to whoever is the current first player for that next round. And then you're going to resolve an invasion. And how you do this is very simple. As you see, there are numbers pre-printed on the board for each invasion. So the first one is just 4. And actually, it's even printed on the board, A, B, C, and D invasions. So how this would work is, wherever the markers are, the score markers are, you're going to arrange these flags next to those players on the score marker. Now, green is at 4, which is our base invasion. So green is not moving, but everyone else's flag is going to move as well. So for example, let's say that green was actually on 6. 4 would be the base 1 here. So green would actually be here. So to decide this, green would move down to 4 since he's the lowest. And then since, he was 1 space away from blue, then blue would move down 1. Red was 2 spaces away from him, he'd move down. So essentially everyone would move down 1 space here. Boom, 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 boom. Because green moved down 1. And then that number that's next to their flag is their invasion number. They need to make sure they have enough armies or armies behind walls to fend off the invasion. How does that work? Well, you're going to have to pay your armies. 1 army counts for, defends it by a number of 1. But if you built a wall here, if you were to put, and 1 army man can go behind each one wall. If I put an army man here, that has a strength of 5, because that's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you see, these little black markers here count as army, but you can only put 1 per wall. And maybe I had another level 2 wall here. I put an army man on there, and I got another 3 defense. So it's kind of how you can expand your army through walls there. And anyone who defended themselves are great. Anyone who didn't is going to get these plunder tokens equal to the number they missed out on. So for instance, if purple's number was 11, but they only had a defense of 9, then they would get 2 plunder tokens that they would have to deal with in the game. Other things you would do, and I should mention this, before an invasion starts, you can actually do a blind bid in your hand of who's going to be the hero of the community army, like defend the community as a whole. And you reveal, and whoever has the most black cubes is going to get the victory point shields here, either first or second place. And they go up higher in value as each raid comes. Now, if there's a tie, then both players collect the victory points for second place. But these shields are very important to get. Not only do they grant you victory points at the beginning of the game, but at the end of the game, you'll also get an additional victory point for every shield that you captured during this game. So that's an extra 4 victory points if you've won any of those blind bid auctions to deliver those armies. However, the bad thing is those armies are out of your hand and you can't use them in defense of your city. So you definitely want to balance that out there. Now, how can you get rid of plunder tokens? Well, it's very simple. On the next turn, you can pay 1 pilgrim to get rid of 1 of your plunder tokens. If you want to get rid of a second one on that turn, you have to pay 3 pilgrims. Now that's the max you can get rid of per round. So if I had this 3 plunder token here, I could only get rid of 2 of them by paying 4 pilgrims total and getting 1. My next turn, I can maybe pay 1 pilgrim and get rid of that one as well. But the plunder tokens are going to be with negative victory points at the end of the game. Now after that first round, when all the A cards are done, then you're going to go the same way with B, C, and D, resolving bids for who wants to have the highest community army, or who's going to get sacked and maybe get plunder tokens for this. And you keep moving through all 4 rounds. At the end of the 4th round, when these D cards run out, then you're going to add up final scoring. Of course, as I told you, you're taking away negative points for any plunder tokens you have. You're getting 1 victory point for every shield you collected in the game. You're getting 3 victory points for any guild masters that you kept in the game. You'll also see who has the most of each 4 of the resources, and whoever has the most of each individual resource scores 2 victory points each. And lastly, you're going to score victory points equal to the lowest building in your area. So if it's 1, you get 1 victory point. Or if you built everything up to a level 3, you'll get 3 victory points. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most victory points wins. Final thoughts. What do you think about the game? Deal alert. Deal alert. Another great game by, you guessed it, Virginio Gigli. His name's attached to this game too, which is why I picked it up. I had no interest in this. This guy looks boring. This name looks boring. The game looks kind of boring. Just generic cubes. What is this? Whoa. What a winner. This is why I do my reviews. This is why I live for reviewing board games, for games just like this. Games that have been forgotten over time, have flown under the radar. This one also sells for $10 or less, and it is a steal. It is a steal. This game can be cutthroat at times. During the auction, you don't have to take those cards. You can start outbidding on someone else and then take those cards at a different round. I mean, it's so awesome. Building defense, you got to balance it out, because if you're burning through cards, an invasion is going to happen. The first time we played this, we were burning through cards. Invasion happened. We all got negative points. I was like, oh my gosh, we got slaughtered there. And then I tried to balance it out. We all started trying to build up our armies and build walls and stuff, and really kind of slow down the game. But you got to get those cards because you want those victory points for buildings. One girl just didn't learn her lesson. She just kept building cards, just bidding for cards, winning the cards, and building buildings the whole time. And she thought she could win that way. And you think, yeah, that is a good strategy, Matt. You're always getting victory points a lot, and more. They compound. Yeah, but so does your penalty points when you have no friggin' army. And she didn't have an army, and she just got slaughtered. She went from first. She was killing us by about 20 points or whatever, and she ended up being dead last at the end of it. And I was like, wow, I'm glad that they thought about this. Super smart game. Getting those little victory points by giving the community some of your army. You don't want to do that because you want to protect your own city or your own people, but at the same time, picking up a few victory points that you can cash in for additional victory points in the end is really nice. Having additional resources, getting those master guildsmen or whatnot are very helpful too. Collecting income and getting it and having to build new buildings. Having the lowest building count as your victory point is really smart too, because you want symmetry. You want all your buildings to be at a level 4 or higher, so you can get those victory points. This is an incredible game. Again, Virginio Gigli, my favorite board game designer by far, did this one. I'm even thinking about getting his children's game, his little hobby game at this point. But right now, another great deal for anyone who likes board games. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until next time, hey, I don't have to tell you. You know what to do. Game on!